I have another question. Would you speak a little bit on UFOs, how you say this is their experience, but yet around the world so many people experience it?
UFOs, in my estimation, I don't know a lot about UFOs, so I'm not real educated on all the ufology. It's my thought, though, that UFOs are primarily experiences of consciousness. You can multi-process reality frames. Some schizophrenics aren't really so much mentally ill as they are processing multiple reality frames at the same time. You can be in this reality frame and still getting a data stream from a different reality frame. Now, if you have little experience, you can't separate them. You think they're all in this reality frame. Okay, they just seem like they're all here because the data you get seems all physical. So when you wake up and you find that little green man standing at the bottom of your bed, and you think, he's an alien, well, that little green man may not be in your reality frame at all. In this physical frame, see, may not. It may just be that you're parallel processing. It may be that you're getting some additional data in your data stream. I think these are basically consciousness phenomena, multiple virtual realities that are interacting with each other. That's a lot of it. Now, on the other hand, look at our universe and how many suns we have, billions and billions of suns, and how many of those might have planets that might sprout life? Well, shoot, there's bound to be dozens. I mean, when you have billions and billions of anything, even a 1/100th of 1% probability starts to produce a lot of results. So do I think that there's likely to be other life around here? Well, I would think so, probably so. Now, can that other life travel around? Well, probably not physically. See, physically, we've got this light speed problem, which makes us kind of isolated out here where we are. Nearest star, 4.5 light years away. Okay, light speed is a thing that is a tough problem to break. So, but can you travel with in consciousness? Sure, I've been all over the place with consciousness. You see, I don't have to take my body with me. That would violate light speed if I tried to take my body. Besides, it obviously just wouldn't make any sense. You need a body someplace else, you just make one. You don't have to take one with you. So, yes, can entities go around different places? Well, if I can go to some other reality frame, take on a body there and interact with the locals, can they come here and do the same? Sure, but that doesn't make me a space alien. You see, these things happen in consciousness. So that's my take on a lot of the UFO stuff are really artifacts of consciousness, not physical aliens from, physical outer space places, even though we tend to interpret them that way because that's our metaphor. We run into something that's different. We see that little guy who's green and the pointy ears, well, right away he's a space alien. He's not necessarily somebody from some other dimension of reality, some other reality system, some other virtual reality. We don't think about that. We think about space aliens. So that tends to be the interpretation, the metaphor for it. Okay. Who else?
Could you just expand on the reincarnational, past life, and transition? We had a website.
And then are we going to take some questions from those people that are out in the internet? We'll give them a chance. But yeah, I can talk about that a little bit. So what does reincarnation have to do with all of this? It's that what we're about is growing up and evolving. It's not something you're going to do in one experience here. It's too much. Think how slowly we do that, how hard that is. We actually have to change who we are. It's not an easy thing to do. It's something we need to do repetitively. Why do we do it repetitively? It's because we get ourselves boxed into a corner. We get ourselves so trapped in our beliefs that we're no longer growing with much speed. Our rate of growth slows down. We get somewhere in that 45-year-old and older group and we feel like, we've been there, we've done that, we kind of know it all, we understand everything that's important. And with that attitude, you don't grow as much. So right about the time then you really should be opening up to the larger system, seeing bigger pictures, a lot of people kind of turn off because they're narrowly focused because of their beliefs that they've gotten with them all this time. So a lot of people box themselves in. Well, the way to prevent that is every 70, 80, 100 years or something, you start over. You just get rid of all the beliefs and you start over. Now, when you start over with the same level of evolution that you left with. So it's cumulative. Every time you start, and you grow, you get to here. Next time you start here, you get to grow, so it's not like you always start at zero, but you always start at, an infant. You always have to learn how to interpret your reality. You have to do that all over because you don't want to come back with the same beliefs and the same biases, and all that memory would just be a burden to you. You couldn't come back here with a memory of the last, 20,000 children and, 5,000 husbands and wives and all the heartache and sorrow and joy, and just be overwhelming. You have to start fresh. And then you grow more quickly. If you're a more evolved being, you grow a little more quickly. You understand things better. It comes to you more easily. You see yourself as a spiritual being very quickly in life. That makes sense to you. And we have to do this thing. Now, the way it works is that you die. When you die, you kind of wake up, if you will. It's just a transition. When your lizard man dies in World of Warcraft, it's not a really big deal, right? He pops back up in the graveyard a few minutes later, and you have to run back to where his body was. Is their deal. Well, we don't do that, but it's kind of similar. You just basically become aware and awake in a different reality frame, another virtual reality, one that's made just for the transition. And when you wake up in that frame, generally you're a little disoriented, not quite sure what you're doing, where you are, why you're there. There is a whole reality frame dedicated just to this process of transition. We're not really dying and waking up so much as we're just letting go of a character, you see. It's all continuous consciousness. It's not really there's really no such thing as death. That's probably the best way to say it. There's really no such thing as death. You just transition your awareness someplace else. So this team of people and entities, they will work with you, and their main thing is to get you to relax, kind of let go, and then plan what you're going to do next. Now, for some people, that's real easy. They relax, they let go, they plan, and your past life that you just lived fades like a dream. You know how you have a dream and you get up and it's just as clear as crystal, and 2 or 3 minutes later it's fuzzy, and 2 or 3 minutes later it's gone, right? You can barely remember it. That's the way this is. You end up out of this reality frame. In the first instant or so, it's clear as crystal, and it just starts to fade. And while that fading process takes place, you are basically plied with busy work, if you will, to kind of keep your mind off of that until you just kind of let it go and relax. And you can start thinking about other things. Okay, once you're then able to think about other things, the thing is, well, what do you want to do next? Let's see what you need to work on. What were the things you need to learn most? Where were your problems? And what kind of incarnation would be best to help you learn those things? And if you say, oh, well, I didn't need to learn anything, I was almost perfect, well, then they will take you to those historical databases, and they'll show you, just like a movie, of you and the things you did and the way you acted and the choices you made, and point out to you things that you need to learn. And eventually you'll get to a point where you'll say, okay, I see that. I need to work on anger management. And then you'll find out a way where that's a good opportunity to learn anger management. Okay, you may be put in a place then where you have to put up with an awful lot and not get angry. Or maybe you're in a place where you have a lot of power and you can see what anger does, see how it can hurt, see what kind of trouble it can cause. Whatever, you tend to get matched up to positions that suit you. You may even have plans, and you may even incarnate with other beings because you work together and as teams and other things like that. That's all possible. It's not as typical, though. You can't have plans that are but so complicated and complete, because once you get here, stuff happens, right? There's a lot of randomness going on. You make choices and you bounce here and you bounce there. There's an awful lot of this, what I call social Brownian motion. Brownian motion in science is where little particles kind of randomly run into each other, and pretty soon they're evenly distributed within the space because they're all bouncing each other. Well, we're kind of like that. We bounce, what we end up is as a profession, who we marry, the schools that we go to or don't go to, all of that stuff has a lot to do with randomness, just who you meet at the moment that you're ready to make that decision, and where you are and what the opportunity is at that moment.